How do you get sponsors and stuff? How do people do that? I'm sure I'm gonna look it up. Like I'm sure there's a way to do it. There's like some formula to get people to sponsor this, but I don't know. Do like in monetization. Oh my gosh, I cannot say that word. Anyway, what would you guys think of merch? Would you guys buy realism merch? Like I want to make it in a way where you would just wear it like on an everyday basis. But I don't know. Been really inspired lately. So um, let me tell you about it. Let's get into the episode. Hello, good day to you all. Welcome to Realism, the podcast, a show that is passionate about the film world and all the universes within it. My name is Christian Spivey, and this episode is entitled Adventure Made Normal. Um, what is that exactly? We're going to break it down for you. Before we get started into everything, I have a question. One, making these Topic Tuesday episodes just like 10 minutes or less. What do you guys think of that? I know I said, "Oh, I'm not going to put a time limit on it." And I'm not. I still won't. Like if it flows, it flows. But like that would be like initially the goal. Like no less than 10 minutes, no more than 10 minutes. I know it's like setting a time, but like in that threshold it's like, "Oh, 5 to 10 minutes or like 5 or 10 to 15 minutes." I don't know. These are usually by myself and just like things that I'm thinking about that like kind of go with film. And it is related to film at all times. And this topic at hand, or this title, is what I obviously have been thinking about and been inspired by. And we'll get into it, I promise. But I have that question. Second question is, what do you guys think about a new intro? Like, obviously, it would be in season 5, which is crazy to say because we're still in season 4, and we're going all the way to episode 75 for this season. And then by the end of season 5, we should be at 100 episodes, which is insane to me. But yeah, we're just pumping this out. And actually, I guess I had 3 questions. Also, what do you think about our interviews on the streets? Strangers and films, or strangers and movies is what I like to call it, like a series, like strangers and movies, a series, part 1, etc., and beyond. But yeah, those are some questions I've been thinking about, but let me know what you think. So the episode is entitled Adventure Made Normal. Recently, and the past couple of days, or recently, like I said, I'm trying to watch every Studio Ghibli movie that exist before December 8th, which is the US premiere of The Boy and the Heron, one of the greats of Studio Ghibli, his last film. Hayao Miyazaki, his supposedly last film, but he's back out of retirement in the offices at the Studio Ghibli headquarters, from what I've heard or saw. I could be wrong. Anyway, I've been watching those movies, some that I've seen already and some that I have not seen, especially like the top 5 that I got a list for from Cinema Joe, who is a TikToker that talks about movies and movie news and whatnot. Really good guy. So honestly, watch that dude. And he has a ton of list top and all that, which is what I want to like kind of do and more. Everything about realism, by the way, is like film related. It's not totally a wall about movies and TV, even though it is. It's just like it's like film related topics, whether it's minor and can lead the discussion to another kind of topic or theme at hand. But basically, it's just things that are film related and maybe thought provoking in a sense, like this topic at hand. Um, but I was just really watching. Uh, so I watched. Um, dang it, dude, I like lost my train of thought. So I watched Whisper of the Heart, which is a Cinnamon Joe recommendation, a Studio Ghibli film movie, Studio Ghibli movie, which was actually really good, very simple. And then I watched Kiki's Delivery Service, which is like my favorite Studio Ghibli movie at the time, and this moment in time at least. I just rewatched it. I'm like, wow, this is just such a great movie. I love it. It's special to me because I watched it as a kid, and it was just like normal for me. This whole things that like maybe some people might not dip into because of their belief system, or maybe they're just like, oh, that's just like, I always thought of it as like childhood film movie because like cartoons or whatever, but it's a beautifully like drawn or animated anime film that is cinematic in retrospect, like in its whole. Like it's great. And what these movies do beautifully, and I guarantee the rest of the Studio Ghibli films do beautifully, is making uh adventure normal, is making that whole like adventurous spirit, just making adventure and like that kind of stuff normal, presenting like anything abnormal or the supernatural in any way or form as something that has already been there, or that you've always known that it's been there, kind of deal. um Take for example Whisper of the Heart. Like it deals with a lot of like child-led characters, which is just like, I feel like the childish spirit within the animators and writers and directors of these films. And it really hones in on what they're going through at the moment in time, and I feel like it's more believable as a child, but it's also like taking you back maybe to your childhood, and just like, oh yeah, everyone did that as a kid, that's so normal, that's chill, like whatever. And then just like presenting that huge adventurous spirit in most of these films that I've seen many Studio Ghibli films. I was trying to watch every single one again to like solidify that I've just like seen that, like I've watched it as an adult and I comprehend it. And there may have been some stuff that I missed. Like Kiki's Delivery Service was just for me was just like, oh my gosh, this is so sick. Like just like this girl is just flying around, and then this kid is like dreaming about flying, and then like, oh my gosh, she like she gets a job at 13. Like I want a job at 13 when I watched this film, like in the, like I think the late 90s, like when my sister was born. I think I was watching that around that time, but early 2000s. And I know the movie came out in 89, but still it was just like, oh my gosh, like dang, I want to do that. And then and then I watch it again, and I'm like, okay, so she's a witch. Like that's just like the thing of the film. Like that's just normal. And her cat talks to her because she is a witch. And I never thought about that. I'm like, oh, it's just like cartoon cats talk. But now it's like, oh, that's just part of her magical powers within her film. She can fly on a broom, and she has different skills, and she can talk to cats. That's just part of her skill set or part of her magical powers. And she goes to a city where she has to go on her own. The night is clear, midnight goes. She's like, this is the time to leave. She makes the decision. Her mom is also a witch, and like she does potions and whatnot, but she knows that like you have to leave for a year at 13 to become a woman, or like a witch in training or something like that. Anyway, she starts her own delivery service in this new city. Spoiler, by the way. And nobody has seen a witch really in a while. And it's just like this whole supernatural side of this world that is presented to you, or that's just different, is just normal. And she has this like adventure, and then the end of the movie is like obviously like the best part. And then the animations throughout the film, some of the action scenes within it, it's just obviously incredibly cinematic, as it should be, because they are beautifully cinematic films. They're not cartoons. I don't belittle the film to that degree. I hope you wouldn't. Like you can do whatever you want at the end of the day, of course, but like it is just a honing in on just like what it's like to be a kid, but like also like it's not imaginary, it's like real life for them. And as I said, as the title is, adventure made normal is just a thing that Studio Ghibli does, in my opinion, perfectly. um, Not every single film is led by children, but you know, a lot of their greatest hits are like My Neighbor Totoro, Um, I'm pretty sure, or Spirit Away is Kiki's Delivery Service. Whisper of the Heart is like they're all children and they're all in grade school and whatnot, but it's just like them honing in and like developing things and skills and lessons in life that they'll probably carry on for the rest of their lives, like how we all have. And every time I watch these films or see these kids go through these things, and I'm just like, wow, there's stuff like a kid that I resonated with that was just like a very adventurous like time in my life, and I just like carry it into adulthood, and like those lessons are very important, as are these movies. So presenting that uh, as like the norm, I think is genius in itself. Obviously these movies just like create original like animation, like Studio Ghibli style. There's people who make, there's AI things coming out there like, oh, this is the Avengers, the Harry Potter world, Star Wars as Studio Ghibli characters, and like they're just drawn or AI'd or computed into different like styles of like the characters or whatever, like like Harry Potter as like a Studio Ghibli with like the wide eyes, kind of like soft tone pastel-y vibe. I don't know, it's just like vibrant but soft toned as well. If that, I don't know, that's just how I imagine Studio Ghibli films. But it's just they've created like original characters, original kind of creatures. People love these films. They've been around forever, since the 80s, or maybe late 70s, who knows, but definitely the 80s, with Castle in the Sky, and then Kiki's Delivery Service and other films. And then they're celebrating like 30th anniversary with Howl's Moving Castle coming out this month. I was gonna go see that, but I really want The Boy and the Heron to be my first Studio Ghibli like film in theaters. Just because I don't know, it's just such a hype, and I want it to be like Howl's Moving Castle. I've seen it before. If it was my first time, I probably would do that. But then again, it's just like it might be my first new Studio Ghibli film that I see in theaters. I don't know, like an actual premiere set. This is like an anniversary thing, so maybe it doesn't count. But anyway, adventure made normal in these films is just amazing, in my opinion. It inspires me. I would love to do an anime film, especially like a Studio Ghibli film one day. Obviously, that would be very, very difficult and probably near to impossible because I do not work with them. Maybe I could write a story for them of some sort, maybe a short, and maybe they will develop it. I don't know. It's not impossible. I don't think it is impossible, but I think it's highly unlikely. But then again, I'm willing to try if any kind of whiff of the door opening happens. Like, I mean, they did a short with Lucasfilm and Grogu from The Mandalorian. So, I mean, if that's not a whiff of the door opening, then I don't know what is. But yeah, if you love Studio Ghibli films, please let me know. Tell me what your favorite is. Tell me what one film from Studio Ghibli is non-negotiable, and also tell me if you're seeing The Boy and the Heron. Maybe we all can go rent out a theater and go see it together. I know it's going to be selected theaters, but who knows? We'll get to that point when we get closer to time. But that's all I have for you guys today. This was a sweet and short Topic Tuesday kind of episode. I'm going to try to keep these short and sweet, but other than that, thank you for joining in. As always, this is Realism the Podcast, and long live cinema. Later.